Torah Or, Parshas Vayeshev, page 58. Class today is sponsored by Avram Meradian in honor of Yutas Kislev. Shkoyach. So he's saying with 4 lines from the end of the last paragraph on 58, first column. Where Al Rebbe is explaining that there's Mamata Lamaila, Mamaila Lamata. The Yid Navaida is explaining there's the Avaida of B'chol Avav, B'chol Nafsh, B'chol Meidecha, there's the Avaida of the Menorah, there's the Avaida of the Keteiros, there's the Avaida of the Karbonis. And after you go Mamata Lamaila, then you bring down the Kedusha Mamaila Lamata. So now he says, again, we didn't finish the paragraph yet. And he says, especially with mitzvahs, is the mitzvah of tzedakah. So he says, Shemisrim kach when you're mitzvah, klub mitzvah tzedakah. Shemisrim memes va'ela l'mayla mayla. Uksiv, like it says in the pasuk, va'yilbish tzedakah kishiroyin. He'll wear tzedakah like armor. The kaveh yeshua b'reish, and the hat of salvation is on his head. Now, what is siryayin, which means armor? It says, Sirimikas Kashim Rabim. It says, why do we liken tzedakah to armor? So it says, just like armor is composed of many little pieces of metal together, the same thing, pruta mistarefes cheshbon gadol. Every pruta adds up to a large number. There's b'chein Syrian shumagin l'chol ha'cheisim bayit, which is the shield for all those that, so to speak, believe in Hashem. V'kachat tzedakah, nasa mogin and michsa, so the same thing. Tzedakah is like armor. Tzedakah protects the person, but in a spiritual way, that you shouldn't have a yanika, a klipa sitarachra. Shouldn't be any yanika for evil. V'nasa b'chinas kaveh yeshua b'reish, becomes the hat of salvation, meaning, he says, again, he's speaking about Menorah, Mizbeach, Karbonis, Keteiros, all that. He's saying that this is the level of mitzvahs, which is eventually bringing Elokus down. Mamata l'mayla, mamayla l'mata.
Menorah, Tzedakah, Korban, all of that was in Beit HaMikdash.
Yeah.
What about Tzedakah?
Tzedakah is the level Mamata l'mayla. That's the Rebbe is explaining, is the level of mitzvahs.
Those are the instruments, the part of Beit HaMikdash.
Tzedakah is mitzvahs. Mitzvahs, he says, is the level of Karbonis elevating mimata l'mayla. So he says, it's interesting, there's an interesting story. Whenever the Rabbi used to go to the oil, and in the later years there was a lot, the Rabbi used to send out 100, every time he went before going to the oil, he would send out $100 cash to Kol Chabad. Organization Kol Chabad, without the Rebbe started. Anyway, so one time the Rebbe needed a receipt for whatever tax purpose, I guess. So the Rebbe sent out to Kol Chabad, he needs receipts for that money. So the receipt was addressed to Chakad Mushlita. They didn't write his name. They wrote, Frekadushat Mushlita. So the Rebbe sent back, does the IRS know who that is? You have to write my name. I mean, my... Beer Inyan Zam says that Beer Inyan, Hineksiv, Ateres Tiferes Seva. The crown of glory is old age. V'derech tzedakah timotze, in a way of tzedakah will be found. It says the crown of glory is old age. Okay, and tzedakah is, through tzedakah you'll find the old age, so to speak. You'll merit the old age. Shemelchin is tzedakah from the level of giving tzedakah. Nas b'chinas ateres tiferes seva, becomes the crown of old age beauty. He b'chinas hadras panim, which is the shining of the face, the glory of the face. Like it says, Yored Hashem panav, Hashem will shine His face to you. Bechinas Pnimius, what is Pnimius? He bechinas Talumis, love the concealed part of the heart. Now, like we said, there's the outer level and there's the inner level. The outer level is visible. The inner level is not visible. So he says that's Pnimis Halev Shemisachedus Mamerch, that becomes one with the heart, with the brain, of in the way of Treirele Delemis Passion, two inseparable friends. In other words, ideally in Yiddishkeit, the concept of Merech Shalat Alev, the concept is that the mind and the heart should be in the same place. The mind understands Elokus, the heart feels Elokus in a way that they're inseparable. They're inseparable, they have this thing together. External level of the heart, the external level of the heart, that means the external show-off level, is not one with the mind. Because the mind has the ability to meditate in Hashem. It's not necessarily in the domain and the ability of the mayach. Because we see that people know what's wrong and they do it anyway. That means that level is because I want to. But your mind tells you differently. So because the mind and the heart are two separate entities, they don't join together in one. The pnimis of the heart, which is to be one with Hashem, right? The essence of the neshama, mamish become one with the meich. Umachmas tzedakah, because of the level of tzedakah, nasa bechinas reach, becomes a level, like you said before, mitzvahs are a machshava dibur ma'ases mitzvahs. But how do you do mitzvahs? Thinking, speaking, doing. He said before, that's the level of reach. The level of reich is machayid the neshama, gives life to the neshama. And then the gili of the meich becomes revealed, to become one with the heart. You know, the ultimate goal, and b'chlal, this is one of the problems in especially today. People are torn up all over the place. The mind is in one place, the heart is in another place, and there's no peace by a person because every part of his body is somewhere else. No, really, the mind is in one place. They know and I want and I do it. It's all, even by good people, they're not at peace. Peace is, within a person, is when the mind and the heart, everything is all in the same place. When your mind and heart are in the same place, you have menuchas hanefesh. Because you're not, so to speak, fighting within yourself what's right, what's wrong, what to do, not to do. You know what you want, you know where you're going, you're doing it, and it's getting done. So he said, that's what the pasuk says. Shemen and Kteres, meaning the Menorah and the Kteres, Yismach Lev. Zakodish Baruch that says Sur Levavi. Hashem is the rock of my heart. Just like the heart pumps blood to all the limbs, that's the life. It's Damu HaNefesh. Dam is the life of the person. So just like the heart pumps blood to all limbs, Hashem gives life to all the world, all creations. The simcha salev, what does it mean? The simcha of the heart. Hainu b'chinas gili pnimis. Hainu pnimis erin tov baruch hu. Ein arechei love, that nothing is comparison to Hashem. Meaning it says like this. There's an expression in Chazal, ein simcha katoras asfekes. There's no greater joy than when your doubts are solved. The worst thing a person can have is doubts. Because then you don't know where you're at. Like, you don't know where you're going. You don't know where you should be. You have doubts. And the doubts make a person crazy. They're confused. Doubt means you're confused. There were your bumpers, there's confused during Chabad. By the way, that means they confuse you more than you were confused before. But it says that, so what is Ein Simcha Kata? Simcha, like he says, is Gili Pnimis Alev, Pnimis Ernst of Ein Arechel, the Pnimis of Hashem. The Pnimis of the Neshama is the Pnimis of Hashem. right? So that's what causes the person to become besimcha. By day at tzedakah, through the level of tzedakah, which bit olayesh la'ayin. What is tzedakah? Sheneis and chayin nafshem miyagiyah. I work for my money. Now I'm giving from that to somebody else. He says nimshach momayla. That causes a gili momayla. Hamshachas liyesh. May ayin mamish, that the ayin reveals itself mamish to the yesh, that the yesh feels the ayin, the level of bittul, pnimiyas into baruch hu mamish. Okay. So now the Rebbe is explaining what happens when you do a mitzvah, like tzedakah. You connect the mind and the heart. They're all in the same direction. There's no doubts. They're not torn all over the place. They know what they want, when they want, how they want, and they're doing it. That's the ultimate level of pnimius, because that's the gili of the pnimius. The pnimius of the person is wants to be one with Hashem. Like he says, the Me'ach and the Lev are all in the same place, so you're calm with it. You know what you want.
When the mind goes this way and the body goes this way, psychologically, that's the cause of depression.
Yeah. That's why Chassidim are not depressed. Because the world is not worthy of being depressed over. Really.
But when the Shama does something and the body does something else.
But that's why when you do a mitzvah, then the body is doing what the neshama wants you to do. That's exactly what he's saying. It's in tune. A healthy body is when all the limbs are in tuned. In tuned. The same thing in music, in art, in sports. Yeah? If every member of the team is not in tune with the team, so everybody's for themselves, so then you're not going to win a game.
No way.
In other words, how do you get teamwork is when there's no me and there's no you. There's a team. There's us. And there's us. Me and you are the same thing. You get the goal, I get the goal, the ball, whatever. It doesn't matter because it's not me, there's us. And the same thing in the body, by the way. When the body is synchronized, everybody works together. That means, like we said many times, a healthy person doesn't feel himself. A sick person feels himself because you're lacking the bittul. So that's why that's because you're sick, or why that's why you're sick. But if the chitzenius 11, the pnimius 11, not in the same place, and if the me'ach and the lev are not in the same place, yeah, you're torn all over the place. And therefore, what happens? You're messed up. There is a signal. So he said, Vizel, and that's the level it's called, Eis and Retzainer Shalmakim. To make, it says, the Yidden, when they're Eis and Retzainer Shalmakim, when they do the will of Hashem. Right? So Chassidus explains, it doesn't only mean you do the will of Hashem. Eis means they make the will of Hashem. They create the will of Hashem. Kinei Ratzin b'china shinui. Ratzin normally changes. Today I want this, tomorrow I want this. Yeah, it always changes. But by Ani Avayish Leishani Siksiv, by Hashem there's no shinui. So what does it mean, Ratzin by Hashem? Al Yisrael Eisen Retzainer Shemaka, meaning Liyas is Pashtas Retzainer Yisbar b'china smakim. It says, Eisen Retzainei Shel Makaim. Why over here is Hashem called Makaim? It doesn't say Eisen Retzainei Shel Hashem, Eisen Retzainei Shel HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Eisen Retzainei Shel Makaim, meaning, what is the Ratzon of Hashem that it should come into Makaim? How do you do the will of Hashem? How do you create the will of Hashem? He says, Makaim ein mitzvah she'en Retzainei Yisbarach HaMislabish in the level of Malkum and Zman, in time and place. Torah mitzvahs are in time and place. Eisen Retzainei they create the will. How? Shom Mokim by doing mitzvahs in Mokim. But Tayag, by the way, it's interesting. Mokim is 186. Mem Kuf Vav Mem. Yeah? Mem and Kuf's 140, Mem is 180, 186. So if you take, it says, why is Hashem called a Mokim? Baruch HaMokim Baruch Hu, we say in the Haggadah. Why is Mokim Hashem? Because if you take Yud Kevavke, take Yud squared, Yud 10 times 10, 5 times 5, Vav 6 times 6, 8, it's 186. It's the same gematria as Mokim. But it's not Havaya the way it's supernatural, it's the way Havaya, the gematria, remember, that it's a lower level. Like the Alter Rebbe says in Shaykh of Amunah. So Mokim is actually the level of Elokus coming into the world. So he says that's the level of Tayag mitzvahs there at Isa. And the 613 biblical. Zayin, the Rabbanan, 7 rabbinic mitzvahs, Hem Tarach Hamudei Erd. 620, right? Kesed is 620. Tarach, Tafresh Chaf Hamudei Erd. What do you mean? It says there's 613 and 7 mitzvahs the Rabbanan are 620 pillars. What do you mean? What's a pillar? What's the concept of a pillar? What does a pillar do in a building? It connects the ceiling with the floor. Or the floor and the ceiling, either way. Leah, what does that mean? So what do you mean the mitzvahs are mudei erd? They connect ruchnius, Shamayim and Oretz. Lias Oretz of Shebechinas Pnimius. That this Oretz of that's the level of Pnimius. That's normally Maila Migedet Almin, which is infinitely greater than world. It's the Pnimius of Yudke of Hashem. Sheidom Islabish comes into Rotzim B'Tayag Mrs. Derais, Zayim Mrs. Rabbanim Lebish Amlubesh and Begashmis. So why do mitzvahs connect Elokus with the world? What happens is, it brings down the highest level of Elokus all the way down to the lowest levels. Like it says by Yaakov Avinu's dream, Sulam Mutzav Arza, V'Reish Magia Shemayma. So Arza means, in Hebrew, we'd say Arza means La'aretz. Hashemayma means La'Hashemayim. That's what the at the end means. But Chassidus, the Friedrich Rebbe says, Arza is lower than Eretz, Shamayma is higher than Shamayim, and what is the Sulam, which over there is Tefillah, Mitzvahs, whatever, in Torah, right? It's all that dream means Torah, Tefillah, and everything else. It means that mitzvahs connect the highest level of Elokus with the lowest level of Gashmis. That's Amudei Ord. So when a Jew does a mitzvah, they actually create a column, a pillar, that connects heaven and earth. Therefore, the pasuk says, tzedakah is kaver Yeshua, the head of salvation. Yeshua, what does your salvation mean? Yeshua, what does Yeshua mean? It means Vayish Hashem el Hevel. Like the pasuk says, Vayehevel Hashem turned to Hevel. Yeshua normally means salvation. But when Cain and Hevel brought their korban, and Hashem accepted Hevel's not Cain, the pasuk said, Vayisha Hashem el Hevel, val minchasei, val Cain val minchasei lo sha'a. So what does Shah mean? Shah can mean an hour, it can mean Yeshua. It also means turning. To Hevel Hashem turned, meaning he accepted it, and to Cain he didn't turn, he didn't accept it. What does it mean? What does it mean, Vayish Hashem? Kaveh Yeshua Bereishi, what does it mean? Shapein al Tfilose. He turns through his davening, Hainu. Shagain Liyas HaKadosh Baruch Hu Peina Ba'atzmeh Chveidei. What does it mean when a Jew does a mitzvah? Like it says in Pirkei Avos. Yafesh Shah Achas B'tshuva Ma'asim Tovim B'malazeh. So simply, it's translated in English, 1 hour of tshuva Ma'asim Tovim in this world is better than Olam. It doesn't mean an hour. One turning of the Jew, meaning he's turning his essence to Hashem, You know, it could take a second. How long does tshuva take? A second. Like the distance of east to west, yeah? How far is east to west? The turnaround. If you're going east, the turnaround, you face west. The Hamsha Gili Atzmusim Musim Mamish to bring down the essence of Hashem. The Gilui Zeh, and this Gilui. Again, Yeshua Bereisheh. Yeshua Shin Ayin, which are the 370 Nahidim. That brings down the level of the Pnimius of Hashem. Like it says, by Kayanim, Umigbois Tasalem, one of the big day corner were the hats that the Kayanim wore. The Pasuk says, L'chavidul Tifaris. So what is the Migbois? Migbois is a kaveya, the hat of glory. What does that mean? Shem Akbar, Shem Bechinas Kaveya Yeshua, which is the hat of salvation. Name Shechli is Bechinas Tiferet Seva V'Adav Panim, it becomes the glory of Hashem. So the Alter Rebbe is explaining this Avodah in the Beis Hamikdash was Menorah bringing Elokus down, Keteiros dealing with Machshava Dibur Maisa, the Reach, and then you have the Karbanis. The mitzvah is Dafkin Gashmistika thing. They didn't bring spiritual Karbanis. The Beis Hamikdash, they had to bring physical Karbanis. They bring down the physical Karbanis, which is mitzvahs. So that is the ultimate bringing down of a Shechanti B'Seichem. The Gilui of the Pnimius of Hashem, the essence of Hashem coming into the Gashmistika world. What?
Makom being UK above K square.
Yeah.
Has anything to do with Makom and Aron Kodesh into the Makom?
Yeah, that's the level of Elokus. Hamakim represents the level of Elokus the way it comes into Gashmis.
Yes.
The ultimate level of Elokus coming into Gashmis when it's above Ruchnis and Gashmis together. Or when time is timeless and place is placeless, if there are such words, that's the ultimate level. Because time is limited, above time is also limited, that it's not time. Remember, we learned, there's Gvul is limited, B'li Gvul is also limited. What's the B'li Gvul? It's not Gvul. So it's limited that it's only B'li Gvul, not Gvul. That's also limitation. When do you have the ultimate no limitation? When you have the Yichud, the connection between time and timeless, place and placeless. Where was it revealed? By the Aron in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Makom in a Midah. That means there was a Midah, there was place, but it was placeless. A Jew tshuva is timeless in time. Tshuva undoes the past. How could today undo yesterday? I sinned a month ago, so now today I'm going to do tshuva for a month ago. I mean, what does today help for a month ago? A month ago is in the books already. What's the level of tshuva? Because tshuva comes from a level of the pnimis and neshama that's above time and timeless, and above place and placeless. Right? So therefore, tshuva reveals a level of timeless in time.
So is Yashmi, because it doesn't fit at both ends. It doesn't.
But in other words, this level of Makom Ha'aron Eina Min Amida, which was in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, which was such a super miracle that the Mishnah doesn't even mention in the 10 miracles that took place in the Beis Hamikdash, simply because nobody saw it. Nobody went into the Kodesh HaKadoshim, except the Kohen Gadol, right? But Chassidus explains, because that's not in the realm of a miracle. A miracle is limited that it's a miracle. It's not nature. Right? All the 10 miracles, a woman did miscarry, the woman didn't, but all the 10 miracles, yeah? That's all limited in above time, above place, not nature. This is there's a level of a miracle, which is even so great, as that Rashbi uses the expression nimna and noise. He's even held back from what could be held back. That means, like we said, really, it's a pasuk in Tillim. Va'atahu u'shneisecha lo yitamu. Atahu means you are God. In Kubeis, right before the Bochinaf, she's over there. Va'atahu u'shneisecha. Listen to this. Your years don't end. Year is limitation. Limitation can never end. Because if you take away one, it's less. You can have hypothetical infinite. But you can't have infinite tables. Because take away one, you have less. Right? So the infinite can't have infinite minus one. So this pasuk that says, see, you read Patilim, you know, Chassidus, you see, David Malch saying here a phenomenal concept. That Hashem, Va'atahu, because you are Ata, not Havaya, it doesn't say Hashem Shnei Sechel Yitam. Atahu, Ata. You is what you who you is. Yeah, you are who you are. And because of that, Shnei Sechel Lo Yitamu means you are Mechaber, time and timeless, place and placeless, Gashmis and Ruchnis. But what's unique now that I've been saying over here, every Jew does this. You do a mitzvah, this is what happens. You, especially tshuva, right? Tshuva. And that's why, again, speak to a normal from Jew. Tshuva means depression, sadness, that garbage tshuva. And Chassidus comes along and says, if it says Ivdu Hashem b'simcha, and tshuva is such a fundamental Ivdu Hashem, tshuva is the ultimate, right? So for sure it has to be b'simcha. How can you have tshuva and simcha? I'm upset that I sinned. If you say, hey, I sinned, good. Then it's not tshuva. So how could tshuva be simcha? Because you realize in tshuva that you are connecting a level of time and timeless, place and placeless. That's a made in the simcha. I have the ability to reach through tshuva. I have an ability to reach a level I couldn't have reached if I didn't sin. But that is all after the fact. Before the fact, Hashem says, don't sin. Don't sin. You're not allowed to sin. What happens after the fact that you sinned? Right? So now the question is, sin is spiritual suicide. Why does Hashem allow you to sin? Hashem allowed you to sin. You're able to eat the food, or whatever, speak, talk, whatever. Why does Hashem allow it to happen? What's the good of sin? After the fact, not before the fact. After the fact is now I can do tshuva and reach a level I wouldn't have been able to reach if I didn't sin. So that's simcha. It's not getting depressed and crying, and it's crying, but it's a different type of crying.
Sometimes you cry when you're absent.
The crying is like when you miss somebody very much, you cry. So the crying is from, like he says, what's the cheshbon hanefesh a person makes? Like it says in Shulchan the Ramah says, before you daven, you have an obligation to think, God v'sakel v'shifla sa'adam. Right? Now, if you meditate in Einoid Movada, not Einoid Movadi. Einoid Movadi, you realize how great Hashem is and how nothing the person is, because no matter how great they are, they're nothing. Right? So that causes, that's the whole level of davening. So thinking into God v'sakel v'shifla sa'adam should not cause depression. It says, because now that I realize the distance, Now that I went over time. Now that I realize that the unique difference, and I can attain that level of closeness, that's simcha. Huh?